there a bonding? Will there be a bonding in binding the architecture of civilization and the architecture of maritime in the Indian Ocean? Of course, this is a very dubious, a very controversial question. I should not pose this, but since you have mentioned the legacy, we are all optimistic. We want something good because, I'm sorry to say it, Bangladesh is the next Pakistan. Thank you.
So, shall I respond to it?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
Okay, I will take.
One question more. Just you can tell.
Sir, question must be brief, please. Yeah, please. It should be. brief.
Sir, as you mentioned, the language sovereignty,
Linguistic sovereignty.
linguistic sovereignty. So, do you find any linguistic sovereignty in India? Please tell me.
Yeah. So, let me first answer him. So, it's not the sovereignty that we are talking about in its aspect. What I am trying to tell you is that the civilizational aspects has its roots, and that language is one of the being root. And when we talk about civilization, when we express civilization, we express through our language. And without that, we cannot confirm. Without that, we cannot confirm our ideas, and we cannot confirm our values and exchanges that we are going. So in that aspect, that is the civilizational or linguistic sovereignty that I talked about. It is the sovereignty as specified by the political scientists or the thinkers. As we understand sovereignty, it has its own connotation. But when we talk about sovereignty in a greater sense, there may be various aspects, and within that aspect, the linguistic sovereignty comes. And that linguistic sovereignty has to be understood through a civilizational diaphragm matter. Whatever we talk about, without that, it is difficult to understand the shared root, because shared root is the perspective. Now, sir, to answer your question, as we are going through the entire motion phases from yesterday, some of the speaker, I cannot remember his name, he said that without the neighboring countries remain prosperous, it is not at all prosperous for us, or rather, it is not at all suitable for us to be prosperous. So to remain prosperous, to remain them, we should help in that case. Whether it should turn into Pakistan or whether it should turn into Iraq, that's their absolute. Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. So that's their absolute responsibility. It is not ours. From our part, we are trying to do, or we are trying to deal, if we want to deal with any kind of trade, investment, energy, power, education, cultural exchanges, whatever there are, because that is also a part of the nation. That belongs to our nation, that belongs to the entire area of discussion. Thank you, sir. Any other?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, all the speakers who has already mentioned. In this session, this is a very important session, and in this session there were 4 speakers were there. 2 speakers from they presented online, and 2 speakers, Professor Devashish Mitra and Professor R.P. Pradhan. Both of them have already presented offline, and I think this PPT is from the your and the no Pradhan sir, because that time there was a technical error, and that's only for the PPT he is showing. And thank you very much all the speakers who has presented
These
here.
are the seaports, real-time seaports. There's a dynamic, if you open it will be available there. And then we try to categorize, classify them in variety of ways. And then we try to look at what is located where, and how do we factor them as variables for economic growth. And that's where, if I look at Bay of Bengal, this is, and then you can graph it, model it, and then I can extend it from Bay of Bengal to we call it as BIMSTEC class framework, where one can think of a smart maritime cooperation and purely seaport based. And then this is the other side, West Coast. This is connectivity with the NSR, Northern Sea Route, Arctic region, and this is where I'm looking at this This is, may be the possibility by 2040 at the max. And this is Red Sea. This is where the story I told what happened to Karachi port. This is the empirical evidence, and this is our comparison. I think is too bright to see, but our vessel traffic comparison with Singapore port. This is the empirical evidence, and that's where we have to, Government of India is wonderfully doing many things. Such a lot of initiatives, such a lot of money Government of India is spending today. I think there was rarely any time it had been spent so much. And Amritkal vision and all kinds of things are happening, and that's where I just want to familiarize.
Thank you, Professor Pradhanji. Thank you very much. In fact, this session we have already discussed about the India, Australia, India, Indonesia, India, Bangladesh, and Professor Pradhanji has also mentioned about the Cambodian epoch. We are basically, we can see from the Indian perspective. So India has already their linkages with all the regions, Indian Ocean region, other also, because through the maritime and through the Silk Route, whatever today is all the Central Asian countries is working on the Silk Route. And Silk Route, if we are talking about the Silk Route, it started from the India, and from here it goes to the Karakoram. It is after the Karakoram, Kashgar, Urumqi, Khotan, and entered in the Central Asian region and went to the Iranian part. Oh, okay. And then from Central Asian region, yeah, because that the maritime, but there is a Central Asia, as we know the Central Asian region, it's a landlocked country. There is no sea route. That's why we have developed this trade route, which is known as Silk Route. And this is not only the route, this is the route where the language travel, culture, and everything traveled from here to there. And it went to the Mashhad. From there, it entered in another part of the world. And these things, it is already known as, because of the 10th century Firdausi, he has written his Shahnama, and he has mentioned the Shahrai Abresham. It's a very important thing is there. So I think I will thankful to all the presenter and the participant and others also who have presented here. Thank you very much. Now I am handing to the Neha.
Thank you so much for this wonderful and insightful session. Now everyone is requested to join the lunch and be back timely for the next session. Thank you.